In progress.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mirae Asset Mutual Fund House. Today, we are gathered to talk and know more upon the markets. But you must be thinking we are in a little interesting times. And actually, interesting is not really the right word, volatile probably. But it's volatility which leads to opportunity. To know on the same and on the fund launch call for Mirae Asset Small Cap Fund, today we have a fund manager with us, Mr. Varun Goel. Welcome, Varun. Mr.
Thanks,
Goel
Tanya.
has Mr. Goel has an experience of 17 years into fund management and equity research. In his current capacity, Mr. Goel is managing Mirae Asset Flexi Cap Fund and along with the now open for NFO fund, Mirae Asset Small Cap Fund. So to know more on it, I'll be just shortly sharing a presentation and probably we can have Q&A from our viewers towards the end of the session and you can always write your questions in the drop down menu below. So these are interesting times, like we said. And before we jump onto the small cap fund and Mirae Assets offering on the small cap fund, let's understand how the markets have changed from a 5 years perspective. And why 5 years, you would ask. So it's somewhere in 2019 that the market capitalization came into picture. The mutual fund industry was categorized into the large and the mid and the small caps, as we know. So it makes a good data point to relook at what was there 5 years back and how it has evolved the entire space. So over to you, Varun, now on taking us through the journey of last 5 years.
Good evening, friends. As we know, last 5 years have been very, very eventful for the Indian equity markets. From FY19 to FY24, we have seen a phenomenal compounding journey across market capitalizations, whether it's large, whether it's mid, or whether it's small. So just to give you a sense of what is the kind of change that we have seen in the markets. If you see, top 1 to 100 stocks are known as large cap stocks. 101 to 250, as we all know, is mid cap, and 251 to 500 is small cap. With the way things are defined, is we see 101st stock used to be around 27,500 crores in 2019, and the smallest mid cap company, the 250th company, used to be around 9,000 odd crores. So this was the definition of mid cap in
Please write your
2019,
question.
27,500 crores to 9,000 crores. What has happened in the last 5-6 years is that there has been a significant compounding. As we know, mid cap and small cap have done very well. And what we see today, as we are in January of 2025, as per the latest data, what used to be mid cap has now become small cap. So if you see the 251st stock on the right hand side of this chart, the largest small cap company today in 2025 is almost 33,000 crores in market cap, and the 500th company, or the smallest small cap company, is around 11,000 odd crores. So what we have seen is that in the last 10 years, of course, was an unprecedented compounding story as far as Indian mid caps were concerned. As they grew in size, as Indian economy grew in size, market rewarded them. There was discovery of ideas. A lot of foreign participation happened in some of these mid-cap names. And we believe in the next 3, 5, 10 years, now that the definition has changed to small cap, we will see a similar journey kind of play out. If you see, today's small caps are no longer as small or risky or volatile as they used to be 5, 6 years back. 5 years back, the small cap universe used to end at 9,000 crores and start at 2,500 crores. Now, as we discussed, it has become 32,000 crores to 11,000 crores. Similarly, if you see the 500 first to 1,000 stock, which is officially known as micro cap, in 2019, the 500 stock used to have a market cap of around 2,400 odd crores. As we speak, it has become 4 times higher. It is around 11,000 odd crore. And the 1,000 stock used to be around 460 crores in market cap, and today is around 2,700 odd crores. So what we have is, between 251 rank to 1,000 rank, there are 750 stocks, which are 32,000 crores to 2,700 crore market cap, which is a great universe in our view for stock picking. Tanya?
Right. So this not only shows that, it's not just the large and the mid cap space that has increased, but if one has to compare apples to apples, it's the small cap space that has increased by 4x. And not only just the 250 first stock to the 500th one, even beyond 500 universe that has grown on a total market capitalization basis till 5x. And this has somewhere also, contributed to the better liquidity portion to it. So now, the addressing the elephant in the room, currently we are in a little volatile times. The uncertainty is a little high, owing to probably a few macroeconomics factors, a few market factors, and also we are in the rundown to, the Indian budget. So the main questions that comes up is, now why small cap at this point in time? Why small cap now? So if you could shed some light on the same.
Yeah, so no, if you look at the texture of the market, again, it has changed very meaningfully in the last 5 to 10 years. A lot of faster growing parts of the Indian economy and now seem to be present in much larger proportion in the small cap space. So if you look at the whole capex story, we have several sectors related to capex like engineering, capital goods, we have real estate, we have metals, we have construction equipment, we have power. A lot of these sectors are having a disproportionately larger weight in the small cap index as compared to the large cap index. Similarly, if you see, there are several micro segments or the smaller segments. For instance, if you see some auto components names, contract research and manufacturing in the pharmaceutical sector, chemical sector. If you look at the whole building material in the real estate space, the presence of these sectors in the small cap index is much higher. We have seen Government of India work very hard on developing a manufacturing ecosystem in India in the last 5 to 10 years. A lot of companies have come up in the sector, got freshly listed, and we see them growing very fast. We have the PLI scheme, which the government is using to encourage manufacturing. So whether it's battery chemical companies, whether it's EV related stories, whether it's green energy, solar energy, whether it's semiconductors, whether it's mobile phones, laptops, manufacturing companies related to this field have seen significantly higher presence in the small cap space as compared to the large cap space. One very important point that I like to highlight that between 2011 to 2021, almost 10 years, Indian economy was in a phase that only a few sectors were doing well. There was no capex cycle at that point of time, as you can see in this chart. For 10 years, the total capex of corporate India was stagnant. But post-COVID, we have seen a lot of sectors like capex and real estate, defense, railways come back. We have seen the whole manufacturing system getting added to the Indian economy. We have seen a significant change in portfolio construction also needs to happen. Pre-COVID, you could safely construct a portfolio with some consumption, banking, IT, pharma, and few auto. So just 4 or 5 sectors would give you 80-90% representation of the economy. But today we have at least 20-30, smaller sectors, niche sectors, which are growing very fast. So what I'm trying to say is that if you want to participate in the faster growing parts of the Indian economy, small caps gives you a much better exposure as compared to some of the other market segments. Now, I
Right.
think
So
we'll add a little bit about valuations. Tanya, do you have a question on valuations? Let me preempt it. I'm sure you have
right,
it
that is what
already.
I was about to come at, that, the elephant in the room is the valuations part of it. So if you could throw some light over there.
Sure. So I think, if you see the markets, there is no doubt that there will be pockets of froth. What we have seen in the last few years as mid and small caps have done very well. We have seen mid cap space become the most expensive space. On a forward earnings basis that has the highest valuation. We have Nifty or the large cap universe, which is most reasonably valued around 19 and a half, 20 times. And the small cap space is trading at around 24, 25 times on 1 year forward earnings. So there is no doubt there are pockets of froth. I know there are sectors like railways, defense, some PSU names, some thematic names, some PLI stocks which have become very expensive, and it's a good idea to avoid some of these names. Also, if you look at the broader market level, we are for last 6 months the market return is -4, -5%. We have seen a 10-12% correction from the peak already in all indices, be it Nifty, be it mid cap, or be it small cap. And can it correct another 5, 10, 12%? Yes, definitely. We see, and those kinds of corrections are impossible to predict. But what we want to do is use, this volatility in the market, the current volatile phase, to build for the next phase of growth. And we believe that if we were to create a good portfolio of small cap names and avoid the more frothy ones and invest in those which have good growth and reasonable valuations, it is possible to create a 50 stock small cap portfolio which will give good compounding over the next 4, 5, 10 years. And I think the best way to look at small cap is not look at 1 year return, but to look at from a 5, 10, 15 year perspective, from a wealth creation perspective. And what we have seen in the past 20 years, if you see the small cap 250 index, it has been in existence for 20 years, and the total return that the index has delivered is around 17%. And that makes it a unprecedented growth story. And we believe that with the way things are in India, the growth story continues to roll on. The next 10 years should also be promising. And hence we believe investment in small caps with a 4, 5, 10 year perspective makes a lot of sense.
Right. So this was on, how the space has evolved, particularly the small cap space, how the market cap's growth itself, shows how much the liquidity has enhanced in the space, not just till the 500 stock, but also beyond the 501st. So, and also, you have also rightly addressed the answer to why small caps now. Hello. Yeah. Sorry, Varun, you have gone on mute, I believe.
So I'm there, pretty much there, Tanya. In between, I
Hello.
lost you, but now I can hear you. Yeah, please go on, Tanya. I can hear you.
Yeah, sure. So you rightly summarized for, how the space has evolved in the last 5 years for small cap space, particularly on the market cap side, and how that has contributed to into terms of better liquidity. And also you rightly addressed, that why one should look at small caps right now, whether it be the diversification, sectoral diversification that it offers, or the potential revival of capex, to which small caps could be the direct beneficiaries. So now coming to the NFO fund, the Mirae Asset Small Cap Fund. So I would want to ask, what all things that you have in mind in terms of, the portfolio construction, in terms of your strengths, and in terms of how are you going to form the potential portfolio? If you could shed some light on the same.
Yeah, sure. See, the portfolio, like I shared, we have a universe of around 750 stocks, the 250 first rank to 1000 rank, 32,000 crore in market cap, 100 crores in market cap. So from there, we want to select around 50 names. We would start small. I think we are starting from zero since it's a NFO, and we will have a small size as compared to some of the very, very large small cap funds which are available in the market. So we need lesser liquidity, which means that we can avoid the most popular or the highest valuation stocks which are there in the market and focus more on bottom-up stock picking. So how we are going to construct a portfolio is that the minimum, of course, 65% of a small cap fund has to be in small cap space. And small cap is defined as 251st stock onwards. So what we are saying is minimum 65 in rank 251 to 1000. And depending on the market volatility, how we see the macroeconomic picture, we can invest almost 35% in large cap. We can also invest up to 35% in mid cap or in small cap. So that 35% is available to us as that extra cushion. So 65 minimum in small caps, it can go to 100. Or this balance 35 can be in mid and large and small. So what we have is 4 large events in the next 2 months. We have, of course, as you rightly mentioned, the budget on 1st February. We have the RBI policy in the first week of February. We also have President Trump taking office on 20th of January, and there is expectation about various announcements and reform measures from his side. And of course, from yesterday itself, we have seen the third quarter results for Indian corporate sector already started. So next 2 months, we have a lot of news flow. What we intend to do is that we expect some volatility in the next 2 months, and we want to use that volatility as we construct this portfolio. So once our NFO is over, we have 1 month, 30 days to construct the portfolio. And by that time, all the 4 events will be behind us. And we hope that we are able to use this volatility to have a judicious mix of small and mid and large cap names. from a kind of stocks and sectors we want to invest in. Clearly the focus is on growth. We want companies which can deliver 15 to 20% earnings growth on a sustainable basis for the next 3, 4, 5 years. We like companies, which have 15% plus return on equity, and which can maintain that over a period of time. And at the same time, it is important that the valuation side, we do not go overboard. So we would want to have a healthy balance between these 3, 4 factors with good earnings growth, good ROE, and reasonable valuations, and invest in such names and let them compound over a 4, 5, 10 year period.
Right. So what I understand is
Tanya?
quality is going to be the anchor for the fund, for the Mirae Asset Small Cap Fund. And also, viewers, I would like to highlight a very interesting point also. While we were not present in the small cap space as an active fund, but if you see our holdings, again, 2019 versus 2024, Mirae Assets equity plus hybrid AUM, asset under management, in 2019 was somewhere at, 37,000 crores. In 2024, it was somewhere around, 1,55,000 crores. And within that, our small cap AUM, holdings across our other diversified equity funds, that has been, 1,200 crores in 2019 and has grown to around 20,000 crores in 2024. That's a CAGR of 75%. The CAGR of 33% on the AUM growth. However, a CAGR of 75% on the small cap holdings. So, with Varun at the helm of it, we have the right expertise, to go further in the market with the small cap fund. So on this, thank you so much, Varun, on the presentation side. So viewers, you can type in your questions, any questions you have for Varun on the small cap space, on the Mirae Asset small cap offerings, and anything you would like us to address on it. So Varun, one popular question that's been, asked to us in a pre-poll was that during such times, during these uncertainties, which we intend to take advantage of, what would be the right mode of investment into a small cap fund for the investors? Would it be, say, via lump sum? Would it be via SIP? What would be your take on this?
Yeah. So I think, Tanya, what we have seen, by experience is that typically markets have a good period of 3, 4, 5 years followed by 1, 1.5 years of muted returns. The last small cap rally, we saw 2017, 18 was a great time. Then there was 1, 1.5 year lull. Then 2019 onwards to 24, again we had a great compounding. And then almost for 10 to 12 months now, we have seen a corrective kind of a phase. We already corrected 10, 12%. Can we correct 10, 12%? Definitely. So will small caps make a lot of money this year? I would say I don't know. But going by experience, we have seen over a 5, 10, 15 year period, small caps have created a lot of wealth. And we believe, this is something which should not change going forward. And hence our recommendation is we should use this volatility that market has already been going through in the last 9, 10 months, and probably another 1 or 2 quarters of volatility may be left. And we should use this opportunity to build a high quality equity portfolio. So what we are doing is we are happy to accept lump sums. We are happy to accept SIP flows. Still, if one leg further down, if you want me to, refine it, I would say if someone is wanting to put 100 rupees in small cap, I would say put 50 rupees in the NFO, and the remaining 50, you can spread it out over the next 6 to 9 months.
Right. So balanced approach of lump sum plus an SIP is what, or an STP format is what you are recommending at this point in time.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
So another one of the questions that we have is that, what are the major sectors that you are looking into to invest in this NFO? Little light on that.
Yeah, so I think India is today blessed that there are so many sectors on services, manufacturing, various sectors are kind of contributing. So, just to name a few, so we remain quite constructive on the contract research and manufacturing space as far as the pharma side is concerned. We believe more and more business can come to India as more and more US companies outsource their research and manufacturing activities. We have seen chemical sector going through down phase for the last 3 years, and we believe sometime this year we should see a recovery. If you look at the IT sector, I think there is no doubt that the US BFSI is coming back, and that is a big positive for Indian IT industry. There are several small cap ideas in the IT space that we believe should benefit from the recovery in the US discretionary spending. Also, please keep in mind that with the sharp depreciation in rupee, that's a big positive for all exporters, be it IT, be it pharma, be it chemicals. Then, if you look at the manufacturing sector, I think we are seeing a sharp uptick in growth for various companies in the engineering sector. We are seeing power, seeing a big transformation. We are moving from thermal energy to renewable energy, be it solar, wind, and there are a lot of companies which are into that component ecosystem for these companies. We have seen a transition, or we are in the midst of a transition from internal combustion engines to EV as far as the automobile sector is concerned. So those companies which are geared towards that transition should also benefit. I think banking sector has been a laggard for the last 1.5, 2 years. We believe valuations are fairly constructive. So some of the small NBFCs, smaller banks, we hope to have in our portfolio. We also remain, we would have a strong risk management framework in terms of overweight, underweight stance at the stock level and also at the sectoral level, so that we do not get what you call too impacted by market movements on either side. And we want to build a balanced portfolio with presence in various high growing sectors of the Indian economy.
Right. So this was on the sector part, Varun rightly explained. And a few other questions are on, that what would be the number of, ideally, an approximation of the number of stocks that you intend to hold, and any cash position strategies that you would have, if there any, in the fund. Hello. Yeah, Varun, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I think we had a connectivity issue. We are
Right,
back.
right. No worries. I'll just repeat the question.
Yes, please. Okay. Did I get cut off in between?
Right, right, right. No worries on that. So I'll just repeat the question. The question is that, what are a potential number of stocks that you intend to hold, and any cash position strategy that you have planned for the fund?
Yeah, so we hope to have to begin with, since we will have a small AUM to begin with, we would want to have around 50 stocks plus minus a few. And of course, over a period of time, as the size grows, we would want to increase the number of stocks. But early on, we would think 50 plus minus a few is the right size. As far as cash is concerned, our NFO ends on 24th of January. And as we know, SEBI gives the investment team 1 month to construct the portfolio. And in the next 1 month after the closure of the IPO, we will construct that portfolio. Once that time duration is over, as you know, Mirae as a fund house, we do not take big cash calls. So, we would have very little cash, and, incrementally, we hope to have a good SIP book and money coming in through that. So as and when the money comes, we will keep investing it. So we were unlikely to take a big cash call, and that is typically not something we like to do.
Sure. So another question is that, what would be your rebalancing strategy for the fund, if any?
Typically, what we are trying to do is have those 50 good ideas which have good earnings growth for 3, 5 years perspective. As I said, 15 to 20% kind of earnings CAGR. Of course, there are times when you go wrong, so you need to replace those stocks. There are times when the stocks run up way ahead of fundamentals, so you need to, take some profits off the table, book partial profits or complete profits, and to that extent, we will have some churn. So we would definitely have some churn in the portfolio, but the idea is to invest in stocks and hold them from a 3 to 5 year perspective.
Right. So, Varun, there are already, existing small cap mutual funds in the market. So, how would you say that, the upcoming Mirae Asset Small Cap Fund, it differentiates itself from the other peers in the same segment? So, little on that.
Yeah, see, as you know, Tanya, we started the AMC in 2008. We were the 22nd mutual fund at that point of time. And, people said we are late and we missed the whole upcycle. But over the last 17, 18 years, we have built a great track record of performance with good stock picking and good fund management. So we believe we have our own unique style and capability of managing our clients' money. And we will do a good job with this fund also. Also, I think specifically in terms of small cap, I know size makes a big difference. As you know, there are several small cap funds in the market which have become 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 crore in size. I know we have 100, 200, even more than that stock. So that, as the size becomes larger, the ability to go down the curve in terms of ideation gets restricted because of liquidity reasons. If we have a small AUM of, let's say, a couple of thousand crores, our ability to go down the curve in terms of market cap and still have significant weight in the portfolio is much higher. So I think to that extent, smaller funds have an advantage. We believe we have the right skill set, capability to identify the right small cap ideas. At the end of the day, the differentiation of a fund is with the stocks it owns, and we hope to have the best ideas for our investors.
Right. So, you mentioned, the Mirae Asset Small Cap Fund could have, due to its smaller size initially, could have the ability to even navigate the, below 500 universe. So, another question is that, a lot of small cap funds, they invest in companies which are, say, ranked below 251st, majorly, 251st to 500th, that comes under the top 500 companies, the end part of it. Would you be looking at the beyond 501st universe? If yes, what would be, sort of your range for it and the criterias for that?
Yeah, so I think we are definitely open to that. Like I said, our universe is 750 stocks, 251 to not restricted to 500, but restricted to 1000. So from 251 rank to 1000 rank, there are 750 stocks, 32,000 crore market cap to around 2700 crore market cap. And we will have a good mix of stocks, from that whole 750 names, which will have give portfolio the stability also, as well as the alpha generating potential of some of the micro cap names, right? So I cannot give you a percentage split at this point of time, but we are definitely open to investing in that. We have presence of micro cap in even our flexi cap fund, and we have done ideation on that side. We have coverage on 200 stocks, from the 500 rank to 1000 rank. So we have enough research expertise, ideation capability on that side, and we will definitely have several ideas from that space into our fund.
Sure. While we're talking about stock ideation, one of the questions is that, will you be looking at the portfolio and selecting ideas on the basis of bottoms up picking or top down approach?
Yeah. Hey, like I mentioned, we are always very cognizant of the benchmark. So the sectoral allocation is important in the sense that you will not see us as a fund house having a very different weightage of any particular sector as compared to what it has in the benchmark. So we have our own inner and outer limits. To give you an example, if a sector has a 10% weight in the benchmark, we will not be 0 and we will not be 20. We don't do that kind of deviation. Our range would be more like 5, 6% to, let's say, 14, 15%. And this is just indicative. These are not exact numbers, but depending on the size of the sector, we always have allocation which is proportionate from a risk management perspective. Similarly, at a stock level also, if a stock has 0% weight in the benchmark, it is not possible, or we would not like to have a 7, 8, 9% kind of a weight. We have active weights which are capped on the upside and on the downside, and therefore what that helps is that in both upsides of the market and the downsides of the market, we are able to manage the risk, without a bigger challenge. So we will have fresh ideation. We will do bottom-up stock picking in each and every sector. So while we have a good sectoral mix, we will be a diversified portfolio, but within those sectors, we will be bringing in a lot of fresh ideation.
Right. So now that you talked about ideation, while you will be at the helm of the small cap fund and like other funds also, the fund manager is at the helm of it. But there's a back end, which is, your research team. So a lot questions on, the research team is coming. If you could just tell the viewers that, how we at Mirae Asset are structured in terms of research team and how it comes on, drills down towards the fund in terms of ideation and all.
Yeah. So, so our investment team is headed by Mr. Nilesh Surana, who's our CIO. He's been with Mirae Fund for almost 17, 18 years and has a long distinguished career in the markets. We have, along with him, 5 fund managers in the team and 12 sectoral analysts. So we have a huge range of coverage as far as sectors are concerned. Almost all sectors are covered by us in a lot of depth. We have more than 500 companies which are directly covered by the investment team and one of the highest coverage amongst the fund houses. So I think both in terms of ideation, in terms of fund management experience, we having great capability, as a team, and we hope that we will be able to do a good job with this fund.
Sure. Thank you, Varun. So, viewers, a few last questions we'll be taking in. So, if you have anything, so please write in. So, another question that has come up is that, very interesting one. Say we also have on the terms of, an index fund in small cap space. So, how distinguish it would the active fund management part would play? What part the active fund management would play in distinguishing this fund from, say, an index sort of a fund?
Yeah, see, the index offering, as you know, is a very different offering. And uh, am I audible?
Yeah, Varun, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm saying, as you know, almost all big indices have an index fund, be it Nifty 50, be it mid cap 100. Similarly, we also have a small cap index fund. So those investors who are looking for index returns, that is a great, value proposition. Whereas this fund is an actively managed fund where we will actively managing in terms of stock and sectoral allocation, and we hope that the active fund management can add some value over and above what the index has delivered. So that is the constant endeavor, and that is where the effort will be directed at.
Sure. So, something on the investment universe coverage at Mirae, if you could highlight something on that.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we having a 12-member research team, 5 fund managers, 17-member investment team. We are actively covering more than 500 stocks, from the 1 to 1,000 ranking as per the AMFI list. And therefore, there is a huge range of companies that are under direct coverage. Plus, of course, we have another 200 names in which we take support from the sell side research teams, which expands our research coverage to almost 700 stocks. And therefore, I think we have the whole very wide range of stocks which are being tracked by us, and that helps us in doing the right stock picking for our investors.
Sure. So the last question for this webinar, you mentioned that, the size would be an advantage for the newer funds, for this fund also in particular, in the small cap segment. So till what AUM size will that advantage remain? And would you be closing the fund, if you reach any AUM sort of a limit? So this is the broader question.
Yeah. So that's a very good question. I think as of now, as I said, this NFO, we are starting at zero, and you know, we hope to raise a few thousand crores. I mean, nobody knows what size, but I think in the first year we would be a smaller fund. Now, my sense is, if in the first year we have a 4-5 thousand crore AUM, that will give us a good foundation. We will do good bottom-up stock picking, have the right 50-60 stocks to begin with, and once the AUM crosses 4-5 thousand crores, we may tweak the design a little bit, add some newer stock ideas, increase the number of ideas. But I think from how we are thinking, we are okay till AUM 4-5 thousand crores, and I think we are good with that in the first 12 months of the fund.
Sure, Varun. To summarize, if I have to ask you like 2 pointers on why Mirae Asset Small Cap Fund and why small cap right now. So how would you like to summarize this entire discussion in these two questions under these two headers?
Yeah, so like I said, last 20 years, we have seen small caps having an incredible wealth creation journey. And with the way growth outlook is for India and the Indian economy doing so well, we believe that the next decade should also be good as far as the small cap space is concerned. And we believe the small cap space is getting more and more exciting with new sectors, new stories, new themes emerging. And therefore, we believe as far as stock picking is concerned, there is no better place than to come to the small cap space, create a portfolio of good 40-50 ideas which can grow very well for the next 5-10-15 years. Why now? I mean, we believe small cap is an asset class for medium to long term. in this 1 year, will small cap make a lot of money? I would say I don't know. But you have a 5, 10, 15-year view. I believe small caps have historically created a lot of wealth. It's an ideal product for wealth creation. If you want to save for your daughters or your son's education, if you want to save for your retirement, if you want to save to buy a house, a small cap can definitely do well. Will we have periods of volatility? Will we see 20% drawdowns along the way? Yes, 100%. We will see volatility along the way. But even despite that, I think from a 5, 10, 15-year perspective, every client or every investor in India should have some allocation to small cap in their overall equity allocation.
Right. Thank you so much, Varun, for taking us through the, entire small cap presentation and why, and the most asked question that, what differentiates the upcoming small cap fund by Mirae Asset. Thank you so much on that.
Thank you.
So viewers, the small cap Mirae Asset Small Cap Fund NFO period officially opens from today, that is 10th January 2025, up until 24th of January 2025. So yeah, at the end, I would just like to conclude that, from the same point that I started, it's volatility and uncertainty that rightly so we are seeing in the markets, but it's that uncertainty and volatility which leads to opportunities. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Varun. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Tanya. Thanks everybody for joining. Thank you.